Welcome to the current events section of the Morning Brew. Listings and Showtime channel links can be found in the description below if you guys are watching this on YouTube and BitChute. Don't forget to hit that description also for ways to support the channel. Our first story this morning is about the CIA, and it's coming to you from my friend Merlin. Hit it.
Hi, I'm a Merlin. I'm the news editor, and I'm going to read a story. President Donald Trump, this is about al-Baghdadi. He's been found, killed. It's over. President Donald Trump announced early Sunday that the Islamic State's leader, Baker al-Baghdadi, had been killed in a U.S. military strike in Syria on Saturday. The mission was made possible in no small part by information the CIA discovered this past summer when one of al-Baghdadi's wives and a courier were arrested and interrogated. The New York Times reports that the agency wrapped up its plans for the al-Baghdadi's capture in coordination with Iraqi and Kurdish intelligence officials, who helped narrow down the leader's exact location and strategically placed spies to monitor his movements in the months before U.S. forces moved in for the strike. Al-Baghdadi killing marks a major victory for U.S. forces, as the reclusive leader has spent the past 5 years in hiding, and the U.S. placing a $25 million bounty on his head in 2016. Officials praised the Kurds for continuing to provide intelligence to CIA, even after Trump announced the U.S. retreat. Trump detailed the mission that he said trapped the former leader and 3 children who were with him in a tunnel before he detonated a suicide vest. The president also thanked others for their assistance in the strike, but emphasized that U.S. agents were at the heart of the operation. Good job, Trump.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is a good job in that, in the fact that when Osama bin Laden was found, who took all the credit for that?
Oh yeah, we didn't hear. We heard about that for days and days and days and years. We still hear about it.
Yeah.
They compared it, in fact.
You know, screw the SEAL team that went in there. It was Obama that did it.
But before we move on, I talk to you guys in chat, we have to talk about something else real quick. And this is about the liberal mindset. So Washington Post changes al-Baghdadi's obituary headline after calling ISIS leader the austere religious scholar. The Washington Post changed the headline of his obituary for ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi after initially calling him an austere religious scholar at the helm of Islamic State. Wow, that sounds so, prestigious.
Yeah. It makes him sound so peaceful and likable.
Yeah. The Post changed its headline for the obituary at least twice Sunday, starting by describing al-Baghdadi as an Islamic State terrorist-in-chief. The newspaper then adjusted the headline to call al-Baghdadi the austere religious scholar at the helm of Islamic State, sparking some backlash on social media, you think?
You think?
The headline has now been updated to describe al-Baghdadi as the extremist leader of Islamic State. The Washington Examiner also noted that the Post spent most of the obituary focused on his academic career rather than his role in ISIS. The man who would become the founding leader of the world's most brutal terrorist group spent his early adult years as an obscure academic, aiming for a quiet life as a professor of Islamic law, the obituary reads.
Breaking news, CNN, Trump kills unarmed father of 3.
Oh, God, really?
Seriously?
They really did it?
They really did it. They really did it.
Wow. Did you put that up?
I put it up.
Okay.
This is contributed from @YodaCon, Rationalist Yoda on Twitter.
Hold on. Don Lemon on the... no wonder it was Don Lemon.
Yeah. If this does happen to be a Photoshop, which sometimes these things can be, I will post a retraction as a pinned comment after I upload the videos if it is found out to be a Photoshop event. But I wouldn't put this past CNN.
I wouldn't either. I mean, I bet you CNN, because CNN has such a hate boner for Trump that they've done this before in the past.
Yeah. Like having a suicide vest on is unarmed. Give me a fucking break.
Well, I can see where the Washington Post got it from then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Barry, LOL, like Trump pulled the trigger.
Yeah. fucking
I mean,
ridiculous.
this is the state of politics, and this is what we're talking about. CNN is just in their own bubble, and their audience is nothing but left-wing radicals who watch this crap.
Yeah.
So now we're going to have liberals saying, "Oh, Trump is so horrible. He ordered the death of three children."
Yeah.
And the father, what are the children going to do now?
Yeah. No shit.
I can't believe they actually did it. I mean, I could believe it, but
like I said, I wouldn't put it past them. But in this day and age of Photoshop and faking pictures, if on the off chance it does prove to be Photoshopped,
I will apologize, Soshi.
Me too.
But right now, I believe in my hearts of hearts that this is a real story. And with Don Lemon, the worst journalist of the year, Don Lemon, then yeah, I believe it. Because Don Lemon would say things like that. Please do.
They are worse than Saddam. Iraqis take to streets to topple regime. Iraq has been gripped by an unprecedented wave of protests in recent weeks, with thousands of demonstrators taking to the streets, determined to upend the political order that has been in place since the toppling of Saddam Hussein in 2003. When protests first began, grievances centered on corruption, the lack of jobs, and basic services. But amid the government's heavy-handed response, demands for a better life soon evolved into calls for the government to resign. Predominantly Shia demonstrators rejecting the entire Shia political and religious establishment, which they blame for the country's dysfunction over the past 16 years. The Prime Minister, Adel Abdul Mahdi, who came into office a year ago, has so far resisted public pressure to step down, warning that the government's resignation could throw the country into chaos. With protesters refusing to budge, the state could be set for a prolonged period of unrest. On Friday, despite widespread calls for restraint, 52 people were killed, bringing the total death toll to more than 200, according to Iraq's Human Rights Commission. In Baghdad, hundreds of protesters waving Iraqi flags flocked to the capital's Central Liberation Square, where they faced off with black-clad riot police. On Saturday, security forces once again deployed tear gas to disperse protesters who had hunkered down in Liberation Square. In a last-ditch effort to appease the protesters, Abdul Mahdi addressed the public on the eve of Friday's protest. God damn it.
It's all right. We understand. You got Merlinism.
No, it's my bronchitis because it goes hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. And when it does that, my bronchitis is like, ha-ha! I'm visiting! And I'm like, ha-ha! God damn it.
Right.
Let me see here. Announcing another set of reforms, including slashing salaries of top officials, formation of a special court to prosecute corrupt officials, and a cabinet reshuffle. The government's pledge to refrain from using force faltered in the early hours of Friday.
Oops.
In another sign of growing nationalist sentiments, many protesters called for an end to Iran's growing influence in Iraq. Parties with close ties to Iran control one of the largest factions in parliament, while armed wings have been formally integrated into Iraqi's apparatus. It makes it sound like it's a structure or something.
I know.
Some of these groups stand accused of setting up an autonomous crisis cell to crush the first wave of protests in early October, deploying snipers to target demonstrators and attacking media outlets who covered the unrest. Yet, the use of force appears to do little to curb spirits. We aren't scared of ISIS, so why should we be scared of those thieves, said Kadam, a former soldier who lost a leg in the war against Islamic State. They think when they hit us that they're scaring us, but no, they're actually increasing our determination. Good for you.
Good luck. I wish the people over there in Iraq good luck.
Yeah.
I hope the people will triumph.
Yeah.
I mean, after a while, you would get tired of just rolling blackouts unless you live in California. Then, you're used to it. You're rolling blackouts, not having water. The economy is not picking up to where it should be, according to everyone else. Everyone's still suffering. The government is just, getting fatter and fatter from all these other governments giving them money, and it's not trickling down. You can't blame them. There's going to be a time. There's going to be a boiling point.
Yep.
And this is Iraq's boiling point.
Yep.
They want, they want a government that's going to take care of them, not a government that's going to do what Saddam did. What Saddam did, but worse. At least Saddam had peace in the streets.
Well, he had peace in the streets because anybody that descended against him either got shot or stuck in a camp. I mean, let's be fair.
Yeah, that's true. But still, at least there was an economy. At least people had jobs.
Yeah.
Shit like that. Even though Saddam was a worthless piece of crap, but still, there people were able to eat. Didn't have to worry about electricity. Had water. Had jobs. But now, since 2003, they've been struggling with that. Because think about it, their country has been decimated from the war.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I told a lot of people disagreed with me when I said this, but he was, for the time, a necessary evil.
Yeah, he was. But for some reason, we want to go in there and get rid of this. Look at Libya. It's a perfect example with Gaddafi. Mm-hmm. The people actually liked Gaddafi. Gaddafi was doing great things in that country, believe it or not. He kept all the tribal factions at bay.
Yep. There
was jobs. People were actually happy. Take him out, and all of a sudden, it's like Ethiopia times 10. This is what happens when the world messes with these countries that we shouldn't be messing with.
Yep.
I know, Barry. That's true, but still. Well, all right. So let's talk about the EU and Brexit again. They agreed to the delay until January 31st, 2020, as PM Johnson seeks election. This is a never-ending story. And before I continue, I just want to say I've read also some articles. They're saying that the EU themselves are tired of dealing with this. The French president, Macron, said he was tired. He just wanted to get along, back doing French affairs, and not worrying about this crap. But, of course not. We can't have that. So the European Union on Monday agreed to a 3-month flexible delay to departure from the bloc as Prime Minister Boris Johnson pushes for an election after opponents forced him to request an extension he vowed never to ask for. Johnson, who became Prime Minister by pledging to do or die to deliver Brexit on October 31st, was driven into requesting a postponement after he was defeated in Parliament of the sequestering the ratification of his divorce deal. Brexit agreed on Monday to put off Brexit until the end of January, with earlier departure possible should the faction-ridden UK Parliament ratify the separation deal. But EU members state they will need Britain to formally respond to its offer of a 3-month delay to Brexit before launching a written procedure whereby governments will have 24 hours to accept or reject the delay. 2 senior EU diplomats confirmed that the written procedure period agreed was 24 hours, effective from the time London accepts the offer of the Brexit delay from October 31st to January 31st. With British politics still paralyzed over carrying out Brexit 3.5 years after the 52%, 48% referendum vote in favor of leave, Johnson is demanding Parliament to approve an election on December 12th in return for more time to adopt his deal. But he needs the support of 2/3 of the 650 lawmakers for a new election. A House of Commons vote is due later on today or Monday. And that's it.
And that's it for that one. Yeah, this is...
Yeah, Mitch is right. The EU has no say in Brexit other than simply piss off. Right, just simply piss off.
I mean, it gets me, and I'm going to put this... It gets me because, okay, this forced, if you look at it from an outsider's point of view, Boris came in and he got voted in because he said that no matter what, on the 31st they were leaving. With or without a deal, fuck everybody else, okay? However, as we've seen this develop since he got voted in or elected or, it became increasingly clear that he's backing himself into a corner because he's fighting a parliament that is not working for what the people want. This has become clear. This has become absolutely obvious because, it's when we were discussing a possible extension last week, I said it, and I will say it again this week. First, you had May's crappy fucking offer. Then you had the no confidence vote. Then you had her resigning, which led to the election of Boris Johnson. All this stuff literally wasted time that could have been used for the Brexit process. So am I surprised that an extension has been granted to the 31st of January? No, I'm not in the least bit surprised that this happened. Because all of this, and now his constant fighting, him trying to get the Queen to, prorogate, Parliament and all this other stuff, all this is a waste of time with this deadline, with the original deadline, 3 days away. So no, I'm not the least bit surprised that this shit got pushed back.
And I'll even say this, I'll go one further, because I can see Parliament doing this. Is when Johnson said that October 31st was it, they did this out of spite.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. And right away, when I was doing the research reading, it was just right out of spite. It's like, oh yeah, watch what we can do. Mm-hmm. And Mitch is right, kind of. So the EU is guilty of interfering in foreign affairs that could be seen as an act of war.
Yeah.
Only if Britain was an individual nation, which is still not. It's still part of the EU.
Yeah.
Maybe after, when Britain gets out and they're free, yeah, it probably would be an act of war.
Mm-hmm.
But Johnson is at fault and is not at fault. Unfortunately, he's deal with the Parliament that, like you said, does not want to deal with the people, cares about their own pocketbooks and their own hides before that of the people. So I don't know. I don't have confidence for January 31st either. I bet you something else stupid is going to come along.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And yeah.
They keep putting this off. They keep putting this off. They keep putting this off. And I understand why Boris said the 31st or nothing. But like I said, because of what's going on, he was backed into a corner. So,
yeah.
He had to go for this extension because now they're fighting his idea of taking the backstop out of the deal and them actually having a say, when they exit. And that they don't like this. It's like, okay, to me, with what's going on over there, what's going on with Congress over here, it's like there's a whole list of people I want to jack slap and tell them just to sit down, shut up, and actually listen to what the people want for a fucking change,
right,
and do that. Why is that so difficult?
And Mitch puts it best. I mean, the people have spoken. Yeah. No deal, cut the DD cord. I agree. The people. This will be the third time that Brexit was held off.
Mm-hmm.
3.5 years we've been at this now. It should have been over 2 years ago. The British economy would have recovered by now. They would have been thriving. But no, instead that everybody gets cut in the quagmire. So you get all these businesses, the citizens are suffering while this goes on. But it's just, we live in a day and age where politicians don't care about the people.
Nope.
It's lucrative to turn their backs on the people and do their own thing, or that of the sway of the companies or whatever. And you're right, it should have been a day after vote, not 50 days we had to wait. They had to wait.
Yeah.
I mean, I pray that January 31st would be good. They'll be able to get out, but I don't see it happening. I see Boris Johnson getting bounced out. They're going to put a person that has no spine in his place, and they'll keep on delaying it till they get their sweetheart deal, which basically says we're not in the EU, but we're in the EU. That's what they want.
Yeah. Doesn't mean that elected representatives need a reminder. Yeah, I mean, they need to be told that we voted you in. We voted to leave. Listen to us and get the fuck out of the EU.
Same thing here.
Yeah.
I mean, the people have spoken in the United States, but yet you're listening to a 2% minority that's screaming their freaking heads off.
Yeah, the squeaky wheel of the ever offended.
Right.
All right.
Speaking of squeaking wheels, let's go to the land of squeaking wheels.
Right. Let me see here. This is the update on the wildfires. So, California governor expands emergency declaration to entire state as California firefighters may catch a break from Mother Nature Monday before strong winds return. Wait, you mean all that cutting of the power didn't work? Shock face.
Apparently not. And it's still happening. And apparently fires are still breaking out.
Right.
I don't understand. This was the magic be-all. The end-all.
Right? Gusts of 60 to 70 miles an hour could hit Northern California Tuesday and Wednesday, and Southern California could see gusts as high as 75 miles per hour Tuesday night into Thursday with single-digit humidity, he says. PG&E announced Sunday it's monitoring a third consecutive severe wind event expected to impact 32 counties across Northern and Central California Tuesday, and Wednesday that could mean more preventative blackouts that aren't working.
Yay.
That aren't working. I'll just add that caveat.
Can I just say real quick, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, it's going to fuck with the electricity no matter what. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Meanwhile, you're causing $1 billion worth of damages for people who can't run their business or people who can't live their life.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
More than 1 million PG&E customers were in the dark early Monday. Hurricane-force winds created blowtorch-like conditions in Northern California as the Kincaid fire continued to rage Sunday. As of 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, the fire had burned more than 54,000 acres and was only 5% contained.
Oof.
Yeah. Acres, let me see, at single-digit humidity during that time and extreme fire conditions, California Governor Gavin Newsom, the idiot, declared a statewide state of emergency Sunday, allowing every resource available to fight the wildfire. Approximately 180,000 people were under evacuation orders. CAL FIRE said Sunday night that 2 firefighters had been injured fighting the Kincaid fire. In Southern California, the Tick Fire in Santa Clarita had burned over 4,600 acres and was 76% contained as of Sunday night. At its height, nearly 50,000 residents were ordered to evacuate. They have since been allowed back home as Santa Ana winds started to subside.
Mitch classic. California fell down, burning in a ring of fire. It went down, 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 and the flames, they went higher. Very good. That was very creative, Mitch. I like that. It's pretty much true at this point.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, with the electric company, I mean, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I mean, them suing the electric company to begin with for the fires last year, it's nature. It's going to happen. And the Southern California government has a lot to play in this because of their stupid environmental laws saying they can't do this or that, which would prevent fires, but you can't do it because it breaks the law.
Yeah, exactly. And that wraps up the current events for October 28th of 2019. Catch you guys in the next one, or as Merlin likes to say.
Hi, I'm a Merlin. Yeah, use your mind today for like someone uses it tomorrow, and bye.
And that's another video in the can. If you liked it, don't forget to hit that like button. If you didn't like it, well, there is that dislike button. And you can always continue the conversation in the comments section below. There is a subscribe button along with that bell, and both of them have to be clicked together. And then YT may or may not decide to tell you the next time I upload, but keep tabs on that. The description is where we have all of our sources and also ways to support the channel, so please check that out. And we will catch you in the next one.